Cuts to petrol tax. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because it looks like we may be getting cuts to the tax we pay on petrol. We pay a lot of tax, a lot of hidden taxes in our day-to-day lives. It's a little concerning when you do the sums, so it's best not to think about it. But once you do, that's when suddenly you advocate for smaller government, and maybe they shouldn't be taxing us out the wazoo for every bloody little thing. So let's look at this article. Treasurer green lights temporary, so it's only a temporary, petrol excise cut. So temporary. Let's push to make it permanent, because cuts to petrol tax will flow through to many parts of the economy. A lot of people will reap the benefit of these savings, because we all use petrol. Even if you don't have a car, you use it for the goods that you buy that are transported around the country. So, Frydenberg has greenlit a temporary cut to fuel excise to deliver families cost of living relief in the budget. So, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has greenlit a temporary cut to fuel excise to deliver families cost of living relief in the budget, as New Zealand announces a 25-cent a litre cut for 3 months. The Treasurer refused to confirm or deny the measure on Sunday. Then how do we know he greenlit it? Oh well. But has dropped one of the biggest hints to date he supports the measures. NewZealand.com.au understands that temporary fuel excise relief is locked and loaded in Tuesday's budget. New Zealand has recently slashed fuel excise by 25 cents a litre for 3 months, delivering savings of up to $17 for a 60-litre tank. The temporary cut to the 44 cents fuel excise, that's it. So every litre you buy, 44 cents of it goes to the government, and then GST on top of that. Isn't it awesome, guys? Don't you love paying all these hidden bloody taxes? And remember, it's costs like this to drive and get to work and eat out and eat your lunch. These are what disincentivizes people from getting off the welfare to work, because you're paying all this tax on these costs. You may walk away with only a little bit extra money that you pay tax on anyway. Isn't it awesome? So it will deliver immediate relief to motorists before the election, but the Treasurer has ruled out a freeze on automatic indexation. What about we push to remove the tax? And there'll be people arguing, oh, well, we need it to build the roads and all of these things. Well, reduce other government infrastructure. Or maybe we privatize some of the roads, and you can pay the equivalent of that excise on the roads that you use. How about that, everyone? Wouldn't that be great? What if everyone on the street owned the road in front of your street? Then you had to pay to maintain that. Can you see that happening in Australia? No, I can't see that happening, but it's a discussion we need to have. Mr. Frydenberg said, any changes will be temporary and targeted to address cost of living pressures now by limiting the cut to a specific time frame. So they're not brave enough to cut it properly. For example, if the Morrison government was to cut the 44 cents a litre tax by 10 cents on budget night, such a cut would deliver a $6 saving to motorists at the Bowser when they fill up the tank. Fuel prices have skyrocketed, and of course many families this is not a choice, Mr. Frydenberg told ABC on Sunday. Well, Rachel went and filled up the Camry, and it was over $100, everyone. And it's a hybrid, so it's pretty fuel efficient, but still, it adds up. And we've got the Kia Carnival. It's just like driving a tank, that thing. They need their car to get to and from work. They need their car to drop their kids to school. These are costs that families are incurring. And, of course, it's putting real pressure on households. I mean, this is one advantage we have with regards to the fact that we homeschool and I work from home. So these costs are just getting much less of an impact. Even now, I'm having many meetings for clients, all on Zoom, all remote. Like last couple of jobs, all the meetings were remote. So, I mean, I guess that's a good thing to come out of this whole pandemic, that there's more acceptance now of using this digital technology, because that saves me an hour driving there and back to visit a client. And then the meeting time, I guess that's the same anyway, but it all adds up. So Labor will back fuel excise relief. Well, this is where you've got to ask what the difference between the two parties is. We've seen Labor come out with a regional housing policy, and we've seen the Liberals, or the Coalition, come out with a housing policy. The Coalition are coming out with a policy regarding fuel excise, and Labour will match it. This is the game that they play. You need to look at the ideological positions of these parties deeper to see what you prefer. Do you want a paternalistic government, or do you want one that's slightly less paternalistic? Do you want one that believes in fantasies such as wage gap and advocates for sexism and racism in government employment? Or do you want one that does that a little bit less? Those are the picks you have between the major two. I would encourage everyone to vote for minor parties, ones that advocate for individual liberty, freedom, and a merit-based society. But, I mean, that's just my opinion. You don't need to go with it. But I'd encourage you still to look at the policies of these parties. I mean, particularly if you're rusted on coalition or rusted on Labour. I mean, they don't deserve that. Okay? These people don't give a shit about you. They are just feathering their own nest. It's the same shit and bullshit every election after every election. You got to mix it up. You want to make them work. Remember the cash ban speeches that were given, where you had politicians giving good, eloquent speeches, highlighting the issues that this stupid legislation would impact on many Australians, to an empty parliament. They don't give a shit. They don't need to work. What are they doing in the House of Reps? Anyway, I'm going off topic again. Speaking on the ABC's Insider program, Labor's Treasury spokesman Jim Chalmers said he expects cuts to fuel excise in the budget. Pending the detail, Dr. Chalmers said the opposition would back a temporary cut to fuel excise. Petrol is a big part of the story, as everyone knows, but it's not the only part of the story, he said. We think there's a place for cost of living relief in the childcare system. We think there's a place for cost of living relief when it comes to power bills. Well, you're not going to get power bill. Well, here you go. Childcare system is insanely government regulated. There's so much government regulation in this system. It's ludicrous. That's why it's so expensive. Power bills. Well, look at our power system. We're getting no incentives to invest in fossil fuel power generation. So you've got this old aging infrastructure, and now you're going renewables that aren't reliable. Awesome. Yeah, that's going to work. What's going to happen in 25 years' time? So when I'm in my mid-60s, approaching 70s, when all of these solar and renewable stuff starts falling over, hopefully we'll have some nuclear and some new coal plants then. Maybe they'll be rolling out new gas generation. Anyway, the expectation, I think, is we're talking about some kind of temporary cut to fuel excise, and we're unlikely to stand in the way of that. So it won't last forever. Boo! No. This is the thing. It needs to last forever. We need to reduce the tax burden on citizens. People need a less paternalistic government and allow us to take responsibility for our own lives. And that comes to giving us our own money. But our politicians don't even think we're smart enough to save. And maybe most people aren't. But then if you are destitute, you become a story for future generations to learn for. Or to learn from. It's part of life. I guess we don't want that anymore. In an exclusive interview with news.com.au last week, Frydenberg officially ruled out a freeze to the automatic indexation of the fuel excise that comes into force in August, arguing that approach would not deliver substantial cost of living relief for families. In 2021, when petrol neared $1 a litre ahead of the federal election, wow, remember petrol before below $1? Remember that? I don't even remember that anymore. I remember as a kid seeing 44 cents, but John Howard famously scrapped the indexation of the fuel excise, a move championed by then Nationals leader John Anderson. However, he left the door open to a temporary cut to the fuel excise as petrol prices hit $2.20 a litre or more across the country. The main thing I would say is what we will do will be temporary and it will be targeted. That's all I can say. A change in the fuel excise does affect people who purchase fuel. Asked about about the option of a freeze on the automatic fuel excise that comes into force in August, the Treasurer told news.com.au that option would not deliver significant relief. It doesn't make a significant change in price. That's obviously why John Howard he froze excise. Like I said, that doesn't make a significant change. Why are they showing beers? Yeah, beer, the taxes you pay on your alcohol. Not that you should be drinking alcohol if you want to be healthy and avoid, putting on weight, particularly when you hit middle age, lads. You get that beer belly for a reason, but still, don't get me wrong, I like a good beer. I should organise a meet-up at the German club here in Brisbane. We just all go to the club at the Gabba. Let me know if you in the comments if you'd be keen on that. That'd be good. But I think I'll wait till we get rid of these stupid passport requirements so everyone can go and we don't need to bother about all that crap. That'd be nice. A few good, nice wheat beers, no preservatives. Anyway, $250 cash splash in the budget. The Treasury is also planning to roll out one-off cash bonuses of $250 in the federal budget next week to help with cost of living pressures. This literally is buying votes, isn't it? So, Services Australia is putting in place systems to pay the money within weeks as Prime Minister Scott Morrison prepares to call an election. Remember, all of this stuff we're seeing now, that no election has been officially called. The one-off cash bonus will not be paid to parents on family payments, but will be provided to other low-income families that rely on income support, including aged pensioners. Government pensions and allowances are the most common main support of income for millions of retirees in Australia, and pensions are the biggest. We have all the thing with, welfare bludgers, the whole bludgers. Majority of the money is going to pensions here in Australia. It's crazy when you actually look at the figures. It's not clear that if the payment will be delivered to anyone on part pension or only those who qualify for the full pension. Frydenberg said cost of living relief was his top priority and the assistance would be targeted at low-income earners. I understand that prices have been going up and my focus right now is to address those cost of living pressures, he said. So there we go, everyone. Cash handouts, a fuel tax cuts. Let's have a talk about this one. So, ideologically, I would advocate for any tax cuts to allow more money in the hands of the people who earned it. That's a position I hold. I think people should be treated as adults responsible with their own money, and I would rather you have services that are more aligning towards user pays than free, inverted commas. But I see that not everyone would agree with that, and many people are calling for the retention of this fuel excise because they're concerned that this will result in a deterioration of the services government provides or roads and services like that. Well, what if we privatized roads? What if we sold them off and you had to pay a toll driving around for that? Remember, you'll own nothing. Just sell it all to the WEF, guys. And your social credit scores will block you from using a road. Okay, maybe that's not the best idea. But still, we need to reduce the tax burden on the average citizen. And if it means reducing the tax fuel excise and then finding other ways to mitigate the impact people spend on the roads, we need to do that. What do you reckon, guys? Let me know your thoughts on this one. We'll see if it happens. I don't think it'll be permanent. It feels like a vote-winning thing. Then the problem is with all of this stuff, with all of these tax cuts, if you don't reduce the services you provide, it's just going to mean more debt. So it'll just mean the government debt, hang on, I'll bring it up here. Government debt, there you go, it's covering me, but you can see it, it's just going to get higher and higher and higher. That's the problem. Great, tax cuts, fantastic, but where are your cuts to services to offset this increase so you're just not increasing debt and forcing future generations to pay for it? That's the question. Where are they cutting it? They're not cutting it to the pension. We're just seeing that they're throwing more money there. They're not going to cut it at all, everyone. It will just ramp up more debt. They don't care about that, do they? It's an election to win. Oh, well, guys, be sensible with how you vote. Remember, these are free gimmies. We're all going to pay for it one way or another. Still, look at your options. Let's get some minors in the House of Reps to mix it up a bit so the bastards have to actually sit there and at least pretend to listen. Anyway, take care. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. If you're a fan of the channel and enjoy the content I put out here, there are a few ways you can help out. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. Sign up for SelfWealth or Stake, or use our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Aussiebroadband. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And maybe, just go hooning a bit slower to save that petrol, Just roll down the hills. I mean, I'm used to $60 to fill up a tank, not $120. It's getting tough.